The French Revolution, 1789 to 1799, and the Russian Revolution, 1917 to 1923, are two of history's most significant uprisings, both rooted in the overthrow of monarchy. Though they occurred in different centuries, they share remarkable similarities in their causes, dynamics, and outcomes. However, their differences are just as fascinating, ranging from their leadership styles to their ultimate impact on global politics. Economic crisis, a recipe for revolution. Economic collapse is often the death knell of regimes, and this was certainly the case for both the French and Russian monarchies. In France, the crown's lavish spending, alongside its costly involvement in wars like the American Revolution, left the nation buried in debt. The commoners bore the brunt, crushed by soaring bread prices and oppressive taxes, while the nobility reveled in luxury. The plight of the French peasantry became so dire that the phrase, "let them eat cake," though apocryphal, became a rallying cry for the starving masses. In Russia, the situation was similarly dire. The Russian Empire's entry into World War had further strained an already fragile economy, leading to severe food shortages and rampant inflation. Factories closed, unemployment soared, and strikes erupted across major cities. By 1917, the country was in chaos, with the Tsarist regime unable to provide relief, setting the stage for the Bolsheviks to exploit this widespread discontent. Social inequality, the common thread. Both revolutions were driven by social hierarchies that left the majority feeling marginalized and exploited. In France, the social pyramid was inflexible, with the first and second estates, the clergy and nobility, enjoying privileges denied to the third estate, which comprised the vast majority of the population. This third estate was not just peasants, but also included the burgeoning bourgeoisie, who were increasingly frustrated by their lack of political power despite their economic contributions. This dynamic mirrors pre-revolutionary Russia, where a vast peasantry and a rapidly growing urban proletariat suffered under the autocratic rule of the Tsar. Russian society was sharply divided between the wealthy aristocracy and the impoverished masses, who lived in abject poverty. The harsh working conditions, lack of political representation, and absence of basic rights for the working class and peasants fed into the revolutionary fervor that would ultimately topple the Tsarist regime. Leadership and ideological battles. Leadership played a crucial role in both revolutions, shaping their direction and outcomes. The French Revolution, marked by a series of power shifts, saw figures like Maximilien Robespierre and Napoleon Bonaparte at the forefront. Robespierre, with his radical Jacobin ideology, aimed to create a republic founded on virtue, but ended up orchestrating the Reign of Terror, a period marked by mass executions. Napoleon, emerging from the chaos, offered stability through his military prowess, but at the cost of authoritarian rule. In contrast, the Russian Revolution presented a different leadership dynamic. Lenin's return from exile, facilitated by Germany hoping to destabilize Russia, was a turning point. Unlike the fragmented French revolutionary leadership, Lenin had a singular, unyielding vision for a socialist state. He saw the proletariat as the vanguard of this new society and utilized slogans like peace, land, and bread to rally support. His leadership, combined with the disciplined organization of the Bolshevik Party, allowed for a more centralized and coherent revolutionary strategy, contrasting with the often chaotic leadership of the French revolutionaries. Methods and tactics. Storming the Bastille versus the Winter Palace. The symbolic acts of defiance in both revolutions are etched into the annals of history. The French Revolution's storming of the Bastille on July 14, 1789, was more than an assault on a fortress. It was a declaration against centuries of oppression. This event galvanized the revolutionary spirit, leading to the fall of the monarchy and the eventual execution of King Louis XVI. The Bastille, a symbol of royal tyranny and arbitrary justice, was not just a prison. It was a symbol of everything that was wrong with the monarchy. In Russia, the Bolsheviks' October Revolution of 1917 saw the storming of the Winter Palace, not as a mass uprising, but as a calculated coup. This decisive act allowed the Bolsheviks to seize power with surprisingly little bloodshed at the outset, contrasting sharply with the bloody civil war that followed. Lenin's decision to seize the Winter Palace in a single strategic blow showcased the Bolsheviks' tactical brilliance and highlighted the differences in revolutionary strategies between France and Russia. Social and economic reforms. Post-revolution, both France and Russia underwent dramatic social and economic changes. The French Revolution dismantled the feudal system and sought to implement the ideals of the Enlightenment. The Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen became the bedrock of a new societal framework, emphasizing equality before the law and individual freedoms. However, these ideals often clashed with the reality of governance, leading to internal conflicts and the eventual rise of Napoleon, who crowned himself emperor, ironically reinstating a form of autocratic rule. In contrast, the Russian Revolution led to the creation of the Soviet state, a complete restructuring of society based on socialist principles. The Bolsheviks pursued radical policies like land redistribution and the nationalization of industry, fundamentally altering the Russian economy and society. However, these changes came at the cost of a protracted civil war, severe repression, and a centralized government that would become increasingly authoritarian under Lenin and later Stalin. Global impact and legacy. Both revolutions had far-reaching impacts, influencing global politics and inspiring future movements. The French Revolution's call for liberty and equality resonated worldwide, sparking a wave of revolutionary movements across Europe and the Americas. It challenged the legitimacy of monarchies and promoted the idea of popular sovereignty. However, it also led to the Napoleonic Wars, which spread revolutionary ideas across Europe, but also brought immense suffering. The Russian Revolution's global impact was even more profound in the 20th century. The establishment of the Soviet Union provided a model for communist movements worldwide, influencing the political landscape of numerous countries and setting the stage for the Cold War, a prolonged ideological and geopolitical struggle between communism and capitalism. These revolutions acted as bookends to the era of traditional monarchies, ushering in a new age of ideological conflicts that would define global politics for centuries to come. Legacy. The unfinished revolutions. The legacies of both revolutions are complex and multifaceted. The French Revolution is celebrated for its contributions to modern democratic ideals, such as the rule of law, secularism, and the rights of citizens. However, it also serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of radicalism, mob rule, and the potential for revolutions to devour their own. The Russian Revolution, too, is a story of unfulfilled promises. While it aimed to create a classless society, the Soviet regime eventually became a model of state control and repression. The collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 exposed the flaws of the communist experiment, yet its ideals continue to influence contemporary political discourse, particularly in debates over social and economic equality. Both revolutions left behind a paradox. They sought to create a world of equality and freedom, yet often resulted in new forms of authority and control. Humor in chaos. Vive la Revolution or not? If Twitter existed during these revolutions, imagine the tweets. King Louis XVI just lost his head. Literally. Hashtag Note Good Day, or Tsar Nicholas just abdicated. Swipe left if you're looking for a new autocrat. The absurdity of their situations, from Marie Antoinette's alleged quip about cake to the Romanovs' naive belief that their divine right could weather the storm, adds a darkly humorous layer to these historical events. It underscores the irony that both monarchies, though entrenched in power, were brought down by their own arrogance and the forces they had long ignored, the starving peasants and discontented workers. That's all for today's video. If you found this deep dive into the French and Russian revolutions insightful, don't forget to hit that like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. Also, if you love content like this, make sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the notification bell so you never miss an update on history's most intriguing events. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more fascinating explorations into the past.